welcome Manish to this. So thank you so much for investing your time and explaining our viewers and listeners about this wonderful concept of recycling and all your products which are being offered in India.
Thank you, SP. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So to start our conversation, Manish, take us through concept of asphalt recycling. I think many of our young listeners and viewers probably would like to understand this concept.
Yeah, sure, SP. Thank you. And before I talk about recycling, the concept, which is actually a very deep and detailed concept, I would like to also talk a minute or so about what is asphalt basically. So, I think amongst all the ubiquitous things what we see on every day, road is one of them which is actually ignored. We just drive on the roads, we walk on the roads, but don't realize how they are made, how they are constructed. Uh, there's a huge scientific engineering process behind construction of roads. And generally the roads are either the concrete roads or the asphalt roads. But majority of the roads globally or even in India are asphalt roads. They are called as flexible pavements. So asphalt, actually the layer which is laid on the top on which we walk or on which we drive is the asphalt concrete, it is called as. And it's a mixture of a bitumen, which is a binding agent, and of course the aggregates. And of course, there are some filler materials, etc., to improve the strength. So it's basically two main ingredients: the bitumen, which is nothing but the crude oil product. Basically, you have to you drill the oil to get the bitumen as a product, and also the rocks. You have to mine the rocks to get the aggregates. So these two components, when properly mixed together along with the other filler material, you get a what is called as an asphalt concrete, and then it is laid on the road, on the road surface, then compacted and everything. So this asphalt is laid continuously on a road, and there are definitely times when you have to repair the road. You have to take out and put a new asphalt to make it, sustainable in the long run. So it's a very complex process of laying, maintaining, taking it out, and recycling everything. So recycling basically is nothing but whatever road is already there. If it is damaged or if it is to be repaired, you need to basically take it out. You have to dig it up, or nowadays it is milled, and then it is taken to asphalt recycling plant, and then it is recycled and brought back to the same place and relayed. So that's the basic concept of recycling. But of course, that's not so simple as it sounds. So it's a lot of, as I said, a lot of engineering process and scientific terms used in this. So basically, recycling started, after around 1970. That time the crude prices, became quite expensive due to global crisis, and it was difficult to produce bitumen from the crude oil, or became not difficult but costlier to produce bitumen from the crude oil. So there was a need to, conserve the energy or the oil, or reduce the cost. And that is where in probably USA or European countries, it started to recycle the asphalt, so that you don't need to reinvest or you don't need to drill the oil more and more to get the bitumen produced. But then of course that time it was not 100% recycling. But today there are countries where you can do 100% recycling. You just have to remove the asphalt layer from the roads, take it to an asphalt plant, and bring it back and relay everything. So you don't need to mine the rocks, you can say, or drill the oil to get the new road. That's very environmental friendly. So that's one. Secondly, the recycling process itself saves a lot of cost in terms of getting new material, getting new bitumen, etc. So for the contractor also, the recycling becomes quite cheaper compared to laying a completely fresh road. So that is how recycling has gained a lot of importance for two reasons, of course. One is, of course, the environmental concerns. And the second is, of course, it is cheaper to recycle. It has been proven now that it's cheaper to recycle the roads rather than putting the fresh asphalt layer on the top. So these are the two main reasons why recycling as a concept has become very important nowadays. And in the developed countries, it has really gained a lot of momentum. In India, we are starting now. We have started in a great way. And I'm sure in the next 10 years, this will become a completely hot subject to recycle. It's very important in that way. So that is what is actually recycling. It's nothing but reusing the existing asphalt layer by recycling it and relaying it for the new use without affecting the environment in the big way.
So, Manish, I mean, when I started my career, I'm talking about late 90s, that's when uh, some of the other companies brought in the concept of cold recycling. But I think, Aman, what you are offering is something called the hot recycling. And I do remember that those days, the one of the major challenge we faced was the non-acceptance by the authorities to accept this as a process. So
Correct.
in the current times, how things have changed?
Yeah. See, the cold recycling versus hot recycling, there was a lot of debate, of course, but the quality what you get with the hot recycling is definitely better in terms of sustainability or the life of the road. There's no doubt, even theoretically or practically, it has been accepted that a hot recycling is better in terms of road quality and the durability. Uh, Earlier, the recycling itself, like 15, 20 years back, was not considered as a viable solution for two reasons, of course. One is the technology itself. It's not easy to recycle. It's, as I said in the beginning, it's not uh, as easy as it sounds. So you need a lot of advanced technological machineries or the bitumen plants to really recycle the asphalt. That is one. And secondly, of course, the initial cost of doing recycling in terms of buying the product, even if they are available, there was some hesitance from the contractor community itself to buy that recycling kind of a machinery or plant and then do the actual recycling. So there was a challenge, but now in the recent times, in the last 5 years or even 10 years, uh, in both the fronts, technology as well as the cost, uh, people have realized that in the long run, it is better to do recycling. And in terms of availability of technology, companies like us have full-fledged recycling technology available today in India with full implementation proven. So people have now started, taking into those mode of recycling, and the authorities especially are definitely pushing for it because absolutely reason is that the as I said in the beginning, the environmental protection is the main goal, and they have also realized in the long run it is cheaper to do recycling rather than doing the fresh roads on the surface. So question is correct, but nowadays it is not like what it was 15, 20 years back. There's a lot of support from authorities, from the government, and also from the contractor community because they have also realized that it's a better way to do recycling rather than putting all the way fresh roads, which definitely things have changed.
Okay, and in terms of the performance, I mean, let's say compared to a freshly laid road versus a recycled road or relayed road, is there any perceptible change in terms of the performance, or they are uh, almost equal to the same level of performance?
But theoretically, there is no difference at all. Like in the advanced countries, if you know the bitumen layers, there are two basic layers of bitumen. One is a DBM, the dense bitumen macadam, and the top layer, what is called as is a bitumen concrete. Uh, in the advanced countries, there's no differentiation. Everything you can recycle, and all both the layers you can relay the recycling asphalt concrete. But in India, we have yet to reach the BC layer. Today the authorities have approved only the lower layer, that is the DBM for the recycling. They have some apprehensions, which we are, of course, trying to work with them and clear their apprehensions that if the advanced countries can use it, why can't India? But of course, I'm not saying that they are not cooperative, but they're going step by step. So they've started with the DBM layer. And in India, what we drive on the BC layer, the top layer, is yet the old non-recycled asphalt. But I'm sure shortly you will get that layer in the recycled form as well. But theoretically and even practically abroad, as we have seen so many years, there's absolutely no difference in the quality.
Okay, so which means that when we recycle in India right now, so we are basically milling out the BC layer as well as the DB layer, which is below the BC layer,
Correct.
and together mixing it
Correct.
up and trying to arrive at a
Correct.
recycled layer.
Correct.
And then you lay it
Absolutely.
with a new BC layer.
Absolutely. The BC is generally not acceptable in the form of recycled asphalt today in India. But as I said, in future, it's possible, matter of few years. There's no problem. So currently, the entire current road, whether it is BC or DBM, is milled, as you rightly said. It is milled and then taken back to the asphalt plant. It is crushed to a right size and then taken to the asphalt plant. It is recycled. There are a lot of techniques available in terms of how much percentage you can recycle in an asphalt plant. So it starts with 15%, then 25%, then 40 and 60. So it depends. Higher the percentage, the more technology you need to recycle the asphalt. So uh, we have reached in India up to 60% of recycling. So only 40% you have to put the virgin aggregates in the bitumen, and the rest 60% is taken from the existing layer of the road. That's a huge saving in terms of cost and environment for the contractor and for the authorities. So as you go up in terms of percentage of recycling asphalt you have to do, your cost and technology goes up. Currently in India, at a level of 25%, there is no resistance. I mean, all contractors are now familiar with 20-25% recycling. In recycling, also, there are two major types within the plant itself. So you can do a cold recycling, which means that you don't need to heat up the recycled asphalt material. You just pour it into the mixer, the current mixer. The 75% material comes from the virgin side, and then they are mixed together to form the homogeneous mixture. But as you go beyond 25%, you need to heat up the existing wrap material because it's difficult to extract the bitumen from that. And of course, 60% becomes even tougher, where you have to really do a warm wrap heating to make it adaptable to the existing virgin material and mix it together and make it homogeneous. So that's what, as I said, as you go up in terms of percentage of wrap material, you have to have higher technology, uh, more investments to get it done. But of course, that is completely recoverable, as I said, as you move up in terms of percentage, your savings also go up in the long run. And even the environmental uh, friendliness is better.
So this percentage, is it decided on the current in situ material? I mean, in India, obviously, we know that there are so many layers of bituminous layers which have been laid. I mean, you go across to any city, I guess, you will find different layers of bituminous layers which are there, and every layer possibly will have different percentages of bituminous content. So is the decision is based on that as to how much percentage we can remix?
Absolutely, SP, your knowledge on asphalt is absolutely deep. Your questions are absolutely point blank. Yes, as you rightly said, different roads built maybe 5 years back, 10 years back, or 2 years back will have different composition of asphalt mix. And of course, different percentage, as you rightly said, of the bitumen content. So, as I said, it's not easy to recycle. As I said, it's not a simple science to recycle. When you really want to recycle the road, you first test it to all these parameters what you mentioned, the bitumen percentage, how much is it available? Is it possible to really rejuvenate it? So these are tests are available today easily in the market, and contractors do these tests before really deciding on percentage of recycle and also how much to recycle in a plant. So all these are scientifically proven, and methods are available, and most of the contractors do follow that. So as you rightly said, you need to really test the existing road layer. And if you test the road, uh, 25 years old road, maybe you won't get much bitumen out of it. Of course, those days the quality of road itself was not that great in India. But recently, last 10, 15 years, whatever roads were built in India, especially national highways, were really of good quality. And if you start recycling them, then the percentage of recovery, as you said, of asphalt is much better, and that saves the cost. So yes, each and every road is different, and every time you have to really test the existing road, then arrive at what exactly percentage you can recycle and you can relay the road accordingly. That's the science behind it.
Great. I think moving on. So, uh, you being in this field, obviously, the larger picture is actually how you're impacting on the sustainability in terms of. I think you initially mentioned about you're able to mine less crude oil, or rather pump out less crude oil and probably mine less aggregates. So that
Yes.
obviously has direct linkage to the sustainability. So I know we in India, I think the recycling as a concept is still quite infant. Um, but what is the kind of impact you see in terms of really sustainability when we take up recycling, and how do you see the potential in this going forward?
Yeah. I would like to go a slightly global about this so that we know where we stand today. So in European countries, and few countries I can name, Finland kind of countries, uh, in fact, it is not allowed to use new bitumen. You're not supposed to use a fresh bitumen to lay roads. You have to recycle 100%. You cannot produce bitumen. So that's to protect the environment, of course, not to protect the cost. So, so the environmental concern, as you rightly said, in terms of mining the rocks and also drilling more oil, is saved if you recycle. And in most of the advanced countries today, it is always 100% recycling what they do for existing roads. Uh, so environmentally, it is really beneficial if you recycle the bitumen in terms of environment as well as cost. In India, we are far behind, to be very honest. Although we are on the right track, but we are far behind. Uh, we are we are just reached about 15 to 25% recycling level comfortably, and 100 is far away. So we have to really work faster. We do have to care for environment. The Prime Minister has set a lot of goals for decarbonization for India, and this is one of the measures which India can use to use less fresh rocks and fresh oil, and recycle the asphalt. It's really having a lot of impact on environment. There's no doubt about it.
Great. So, one of your, I do understand that one of your recent projects has gained a lot of um, popularity in the media recent times. Would you like to explain about that project and what kind of percentage you have been able to achieve, and what are the positives out of this project, and how do you see to really leverage this project for the future for others?
Yeah, yeah. We have done this project for a large road contractor called as GR Infra. So they are very forward looking. So they approached us. They wanted to really do as much as recycling, although percentage was not decided in the beginning. But they had a lot of wrap material available on the road, which they were supposed to mill. They can either throw it away, they can reuse in the earthwork layers, but the best possible way to really uh, cost friendly or the environmentally environmental friendly way was to recycle it. And they were wondering who are the partners for them to really actually attain the maximum recycling level. So we really worked together for almost 6 months or 8 months and convinced them that we are available with you in India, and we will definitely retrofit our recycling solution on your existing plant and demonstrate that we can definitely reach the level of 60% recycling. That's highest ever in India officially. Of course, there could be some claims going around in the market of 40, 50%, 60%, but that's not officially done. We have also got it certified through IIT Roorkee that this is really 60%, and our software shows that the actual, and of course, the contractor himself is extremely happy with the 60% achieved. The plant is installed in the state of Bihar on a national highway project, and that video is available on the YouTube freely. You can watch, you can share the link on this podcast. And where it is first time in India, they have we have installed such recycling plant with 60% recycling, where you have a separate drying drum for the wrap. Well, that's too technical, but I would not go in detail. It's called a parallel flow drum, and the cost is extremely high, the initial cost. But the contractor and us, we have worked together to find out that within one project itself, within 1.5 years, you can recover that high cost. So it's only the initial investment they have to do and the risk involved, of course. But having now run that plant for more than 50,000 tons of recycling already done there, it's completely proven. And seeing that, I would not, of course, divulge much details. We have few orders already locked in with us for the new plants, which we can supply in the next 3 months. So it's really successful. You can watch it on the YouTube, and the customer is extremely happy, and we are able to really achieve the proper 60% recycling of asphalt in that plant. So it's really a great success for us and commendable job done by our engineers, our design team, our production team, and of course the installation team. Really great success story.
Fantastic. And going forward, so what are the opportunities you see, and what are the challenges you see in terms of really bringing this on a large scale? As you rightly said, we're just starting, maybe 20-25% is what is accepted, but I think the opportunity is still the balance 75%.
Correct. So I mentioned in my talk before that India now has good roads. Maybe 20 years back, they were not. 20 years back, if you had talked about recycling, may not be practical, as you cannot extract much bitumen out of it. But today, at least the national highways or the large roads are already laid with good bitumen content. So when you recycle them now, you will be able to get or extract that bitumen for the recycling purpose. But as I said, there are still challenges in terms of initial cost of the machineries required. Not only plant, but you need other machineries as well, the milling machines, the other parts as well, the crushers. So the initial investment is a deterrent to really go for this. That is number one. The number two, authorities, although they are completely supportive, the National Highway, the CRRI, all the agencies are completely supportive, but they're also going step by step. They're not really going flooded with all the tenders of recycling. The good thing is that many times they have left it to the contractor itself, that you decide this is the road you have to maintain. This is 5 years contract for you. So you take out this material, the existing, you recycle or you use a new one. It's basically your choice because it's your cost. But I need a good road for 5 years. So in most of the cases, the challenge has to be accepted by the contractor in going for the recycling. Or rather, I would say they would not have any choice left after some time because everybody starts recycling. And the one who is not recycling will be costliest one. So going forward, the contractor community itself will come forward and go for such solutions of 40 or 60%, definitely to save their own cost. More than the environment, the cost itself for them is a concern. And from the government side, of course, environmental concerns are more important from all the point of view rather than the cost. So the push is there from both the sides, and the technology which was not available, you can say, for many years, and the roads being not so high quality, it was taking time. But now it's becoming quite clearer to the contracting community and the authorities that now we can definitely go for more than 25% recycling easily. Just for your knowledge, it's 25% is becoming very common nowadays, but the 40% solution also available with us, which is in between the 25 and 60. That also installations we have done about 10 to 15 in India. Again, very costly solution, but then that is also acceptable. So as I said, the step-by-step progress is being made in India, and the contractor community is now getting convinced that it is for their benefit in terms of saving costs in the long run, that they have to use the recycling method. So we are quite positive about it, quite confident that in the next 5 to 10 years, India will gain a lot of recycling technology acceptance.
Okay, I mean, do you see this? I mean, just thinking loud. Uh, if you look at across cities, most of the cities, you will find a lot of concrete batching machines,
Yeah,
which has become quite a commercial success actually. And I think they're not just offering the solution for the buildings, but also for all kind of infrastructure solutions. So don't you see this as an opportunity that there could be one recycling plant in every big city who would be only specializing in recycling of whatever city roads are being milled out, and they are reused. I think it's a very logical thing to really take it forward. What do you think about it?
absolutely. See, there comes one more topic of concrete versus bitumen roads. Most of the cities nowadays prefer the concrete roads. The internal roads are concrete. Mumbai city, for example, more than 60% roads internally are concrete. Now, of course, it's a big topic whether concrete road is better or a bitumen road is better. We can talk about it for hours. We are into bitumen, of course, bitumen roads. Uh, Worldwide, as I said, bitumen is a preferable road structure. It's called as a flexible pavement because you can relay it anytime. You can repair it easily. The initial cost is lower. Uh, it makes lesser noise to drive a vehicle on because you drive on a Mumbai Pune expressway, the vehicle is noisy. Whereas you drive on a pure asphalt road, it's very smooth. So a lot of advantage of bitumen over concrete, but the major advantage of concrete is that the life of a concrete road is much longer. So in a city kind of a environment where you cannot really dig roads, every now and then because of the traffic, so the authorities prefer concrete road. But yes, the highways, the big roads, or even within the city, there are ring roads and expressways or flyovers for that matter. There, the bitumen is required. And already a lot of cities like Mumbai, Pune, Bangalore, Delhi, they have already started recycling in a big way. And it is easier, as I said, the biggest advantage in the city for the bitumen road is that you can repair and relay and start the road the next morning. Whereas the concrete road you need curing time and a lot of time to make it ready. So yes, the recycling can be used in cities very well. But there's one more thing which I would like to add. Many other technologies used in city roads, like in Mumbai, you have now mastic
Hmm.
layers, or even in Calcutta kind of cities they are using. But the rain is very heavy, so bitumen cannot sustain. So you need a mastic layer. So mastic is gaining importance, where we have also supplied a mastic plant in India. So city is a more complex road technology. Um, on the highway, always bitumen is preferred in India and abroad. So there we play a major role, and especially on the recycling, highways or state roads or bigger roads are better.
Yeah. So moving on, give us an overview of all your products and services which you provide under Ammann in India.
Yeah, we are a part of Ammann Group, Switzerland-based company. It's a 150 years old group, and that's the sixth generation which is running this company. In India, we were formerly Apollo India, so we were a part of a family own company here in India last 35, 40 years. We were market leaders in two products. One is the bitumen plants and the wheeled pavers, the small wheeled pavers in India. In 2013, the Switzerland-based Ammann came in contact with the Apollo India, and they started the collaboration, the technical collaboration. In 2018 onwards, it was a complete takeover by Ammann Group of this Apollo company. So we are now completely 100% subsidiary of the Ammann Global Group. We continue to make the Apollo branded products, which are still known as Apollo products, especially the wheeled pavers, which are up to 7 meters. You can pave bitumen with these pavers. Uh, then we have the track pavers in India, which are Ammann design. So we also make them in India. We also make compactors, so soil, tandem, single drum, double drum compactors. Those are basically Ammann design. So globally, Ammann is a very large company in compactors. So in India, we have started after they took over this company. That's a part of machineries what we supply. We also make small machineries like the sprayers, the groomers, the curb laying machines. These also come in our portfolio. That's the portfolio of complete machine division. We also have the plants, which is our major revenue generation, which I spoke about throughout. That is the asphalt plants. Basically, we make the batch mix plants, which are the precise and high-end plants, and we also make the drum mix technology plants. So these both are available. And recently, I would not say recently, about 4 or 5 years back, globally, Ammann took over a concrete company known as Elba. Elba is a German brand which was completely taken over by Ammann Group. And those concrete plants are now made in India by us. And in fact, we started with exports. So we used to export these plants to various countries. But now we have started from last year to market them in India as well. So you have all the concrete plants available right from 30 cubic meter to 130 cubic meters capacity. So that's a wide range of products, right from the machineries such as pavers, compactors, sprayers. Then we come to plants, so the bitumen plants, so as batch mix as well as drum mix. And then the third portfolio is the concrete plants. So it's a very large portfolio, and we have a huge factory set up near Ahmedabad, near Mehsana. It's one of the largest factories within Ammann Group, and within the asphalt product manufacturing companies in India, we can boast that we're the largest. There's nobody can even come near us in terms of size and technology what we produce. So that's our portfolio in India.
Fantastic. And how do you see the Indian market panning out, let's say in the 5 to 7 years time period?
Yeah. Of course, it is again the same story which I'll repeat. India is a growing country with good GDP growth, and there's no doubt about the infrastructure investments that any government, I'm not talking about the current government, last 15, 20 years, whether it was the other government before this government, everybody really worked hard to, invest money in infrastructure and especially roads. And the current government, of course, is putting a lot of money into it. I do not see any stoppage to it. There could be small hiccups, which we saw last year. Uh, the market was down. Uh, of course, COVID was a major disruption after that. Uh, but otherwise, if you see the long-term prospect of the infrastructure story and especially roads, I do not see any stoppages in the long run, except a small hiccup. The elections come, or some governments, some states do not do well. Otherwise, it's a sustainable growth for all road equipment manufacturers, and we also do see a growth every year coming around with us. That is one. The second important part, what we are focusing on, is an export. Uh, Fortunately, our group supports in all exports to all the countries from India. So we have reached a quality level to the level that very advanced countries do buy from us. That's a very major achievement for Ammann India, that we export about 200 crores worth of machineries or plants from India abroad and to good developed countries, including Middle East or Thailand, Malaysia, Southeast Asian countries. So that's one growth area what we are also looking at. So both domestic, where the government is quite buoyant, is investing money, so there's no dearth of road projects in India. At the same time, uh, since we have improved the quality levels of our products to the level that the group has accepted them for export to many countries, we also see a big potential in growth in exports. So both coming together, it's a great future for Ammann India in the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay. And in terms of numbers, would you like to give some numbers? What is the reference number for current? Probably we just finished the financial year, so I don't know whether you see the financial year or the calendar year.
We see the calendar year, so we are about a 700 crores company in the last financial year. That's the turnover we put. And the next 4 years, we would like to double that. That's the target. It's about
Fantastic.
1,500 crores company, both put together exports and domestic in the next 4 years. That's our target. And I don't see a challenge in achieving that at all, seeing the current circumstances.
Great. And what would be the split? I mean, out of 700, what's the split? You said about 200 crore is your
Yeah,
export.
nearly 200, 150 to 200 crores is an export right now.
Okay.
Actually, last year there was a hit due to COVID. A lot of countries were still under restriction in 2022. We
Okay.
had just come out of COVID. Otherwise, we could have easily crossed 200 crores last year itself. But this year, we should cross. There's no restriction now in any of the countries. So exports should cross 200 crores. And we are targeting close to 1,000 crores this year to
Fantastic.
achieve. So hopefully, let's hope that happens. And I don't see a challenge in achieving that.
Fantastic. Manish, it was nice as ever to talk to you. Always with a lot of insight, a lot of technical way of presenting things.
Thank
So
you.
I loved always talking to you. It was nice talking to you and understanding the recycling concept again, because what I have known about the cold recycling, it is completely different than what it is being done right
Yes.
now. And great to talk to
Yes.
you. Thank you for your time.
Great.
And we'll catch up again soon to talk
Sure.
about some other topic. Thank you for your time.
Sure. Thanks, SP. Thanks for giving me this opportunity, and all the best to you for all your ventures. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.